Welcome to Passive Profit Partners Podcast, designed exclusively for ambitious professionals like you. Here, you'll find the valuable resources and insights you need to embark on a journey of intentional real estate investment, passive income, and achieving financial freedom. Our aim is to equip you with the spiritual, intellectual, and emotional tools necessary for your financial success. Join us in uncovering the treasures of wisdom and practical tools that have enriched the lives of our community. Tune in, not only to explore the mastery we've achieved, but also to engage in the pursuit of knowledge, continuously fueling success. This is your invitation to discover the solutions you've been seeking to enhance your financial frequency and boost your income. We're here to empower you, your financial journey, and provide you with insights and guidance you need to reach your goals. Welcome, dear souls, to an inspired episode of Passive Profit Partners Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about saying yes to the universe. We have an incredible expert, Karen Rudolf, who's going to share her strategies about overcoming your fears and being able to take inspired action towards your money goals. Let's empower your financial journey now. What freedom means to me is, and you've all heard this before, being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, wherever you want. It's options. It's that feeling inside that everything is good. Also, freedom for me is when I connect to what's inside me, who I truly am, or my spirit, or my source, I feel free. It feels like a bird flying above on the currents of the air, or it feels like swimming in the ocean and then letting go and letting the current take you into the flow. When you connect with something bigger than yourself, you're in a state of grace. And that grace also makes you feel secure. It gives you that self-confidence that someone is holding your hand all the way through all the trials and tribulations of life, the ups and downs, and creates the ability to come back and be resilient with all of it. When you're in your freedom, you do feel fearless because you know you can accomplish anything. And so the fear comes from that primitive part of your brain. And I know you guys know this stuff too. You know, your amygdala, where it's the fight or flight response. And sometimes that's real, where, you know, a bear is chasing you and you have to do something to get away from it or do the right thing. And sometimes the fear is imaginary, where something happened to you in the past and you now think about it and have a reaction to it. For example, when you go to war and you have all those, you know, bad experiences, and then you come back and the sound of, you know, a loud sound can trigger a gunshot, and then triggers you into that fear again of being afraid and being in the war, when really that's not happening now. And we do that with many things for ourselves. The way you grow up, and if you don't become conscious of those patterns that have set themselves in you, you can grow up thinking that money is evil, that you can't combine spirituality and money, that if you have money, you're a bad person. When you become conscious, you realize that money is neutral and it's simply a tool and a catalyst to use, you know. You use it instead of it controlling you. We're so disconnected from all of that. But it's about, again, going within and connecting your intuition or your gut feelings with your heart, your truest desires, and your head. And when all of those can collaborate and become each other's best friends, you naturally flow with the right decisions to the right people at the right time. For me, when I was younger, I did a lot of body-centered therapy too, because trauma is held in the body. And you have to figure out a way to release that. Some of that is with breath work. Then there are many, many different methods to release trauma from the body. EMDR, they use that especially with PSTD patients. And today, it's especially popular to use microdosing for trauma. But I did a lot of those kinds of things when I was younger. And then I also read every book I could get my hands on. I also went to seminars and absorbed everything that I could, and then tried to implement, not tried to, but I did implement those things into my life and watch my life change. It's all about the stories that you tell yourself and what they mean to you. So you have to change the meaning of the story. If something that you remember or something that you think you know produces a bad feeling, you have to stop. First thing is to become aware of it, all right? Become aware of it. And then you can use that to shift the energy and think of something positive about what you used to think negatively about. This fear, especially imagined fear, immobilizes you. When you are uncertain or fearful, you don't act. And if you don't do anything, nothing changes. So many people, they have a feeling of wanting to do something, and then they're afraid to do it, so they don't do it, nothing happens. And we all have fear. Fear of change, fear of failing, fear of many things. But courage is, the definition of courage and bravery is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And taking those risks. And you're taking educated risks because you know there's something good on the other side. You know that because other people have been through it and have accomplished those same things that you want. And bigger goals take time to accomplish, especially on this physical plane. But it all starts with the energetics. If the energy isn't there, the positive energy and the belief in yourself that you can do something, you can do all the physical steps and nothing will still happen. So first you place the energy and get the energy there, and then you create the physical steps. I call that, and then you take inspired action. And knowing, then it will be the right actions, even if you can't see the end result, because the things that I'm working on might not happen for 2 or 3 years. So I can't see that end result, but I have the faith that I know I can accomplish it, and that each step that I'm taking, including creating this podcast, gets my message out there and begins to create the desired effect that I am looking for, which is sharing my beautiful knowledge with all of you. Hello, Karen. I'd like to introduce you to my audience, and this is Karen Rudolf. She is a holistic catalyst for empowered change, and we're going to talk today about saying yes to the universe. And Karen's going to help us with how can we effectively remove fear and trauma from our bodies in order to take constructive action. We'll start with that.
That's a loaded question.
But first, Karen, if you wouldn't mind, since, I know you, but everybody else may not, would you tell us a little bit about yourself, a short version of how you got started and who you are?
Oh, God. I got started I got started many years ago in an inquiry of spirituality. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And I started with law of attraction. So, no coincidences here. I started off my career as a nurse, and I was thwarted because I was told as a child that, kids are to be seen, not heard, fast forward, nursing, just do your job. And I don't really care what you have to say, just send them home. And the scripts that they were sending home, they weren't getting to the bottom line of what was going on in people's bodies. They were just masking the symptoms rather than getting to them. So I became a catalyst for change in that realm of health and well-being. And of course, there's 6 pillars in that realm that really speak to the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, social, and financial aspects as well.
That's excellent. Yeah, you sure have. So enlighten us today about trauma and removing trauma from our bodies. so we can take constructive action?
So every thought you think is stored in your body in one way, shape, or form. And if you look at the work of Dr. Emoto from Japan, he talked about the study of water, and your body is comprised of 78% water, which is carried through your body in the form of cells. And every thought you think affects every cell of your body, without getting into all of the science behind that, because I know our time is limited. So every cell is attached to every organ, and every organ is attached to ease or dis-ease. So depending, the more you keep telling yourself something, for instance, a belief system, right? I'm not enough, or I'm not loved, I'm not, or whatever your belief is, right? The more you keep looking for evidence and telling yourself over and over again, it's going to manifest in some way, shape, or form in your body. And your body's going to keep talking. And if you don't listen, it's going to talk louder. And if you don't listen, it's going to keep knocking upside the head until you end up with a heart attack or cancer or diabetes or whatever the related ail will be. And the way to start looking at that is really start listening to what is coming out of your mouth and the stories you've been telling yourself. Because when we were a child, we were told, or we had an experience. The experience, we made it mean, because we're mean-making machines as human beings. And the more we make it mean, the more we start looking for evidence to create it as our truth. It doesn't have to be our truth. So when you start looking at the patterns that's going on in, not just your body, but your speech patterns and what's coming out of your mouth and the results you're getting in life, we start looking, and what I do with my clients is I'll start looking at that and start shifting some of that energy, because everything is energy, and it's stored in the form of energy within your body.
Yes. Yes, I totally agree with that. So can you elaborate a little bit about that cocktail of fear and uncertainty and, these emotions that just immobilize us, and what can we do to break free from that?
Right. Well, you always hear that fear kind of manifests as false evidence appearing real, which just speaks to what I was just talking to. There's other little acronyms that can be used for that, but we'll just stick with that for the moment. And if it's false evidence, again, it's the stories we tell ourselves. So love and hate, fear and love can't live in the same place at the same time. It's impossible. Right? So the more we recreate those stories over and over and over again, the more it's going to manifest. What you focus on expands. It's going to manifest more in the fear aspect. So when we start identifying it and choosing to change, because it is a choice, then you're able to shift over to more of a positive context. People say, positive affirmations. Well, affirmations are not going to be worth squat if you don't believe them. I can tell myself I'm a genius till the cows get home. It doesn't mean I'm a genius. It doesn't mean that I'm going to believe I'm a genius, because my brain isn't getting that concept. You have to embody it as energy. And part of what I do with my clients is I have them journaling. And the journaling will support the embodiment of the energy in which they want to embody. And every quarter it changes. Every 60 days, actually, it should theoretically be changing.
That's absolutely true. And you got me started on journaling, and it's been fabulous, I have to say. It's really bringing clarity and cohesiveness to what I'm trying to accomplish here in this lifetime. So I thank you for that.
And just as a little caveat to that, and thank you for saying that, because I know the work works when you work it, and you were a sterling example of that. The journaling is not, for those listening and who don't know me, right? The journaling is not, Anna, Michelle, and I met today and we talked about, it's not that kind of journaling whatsoever, right? It's very succinct journaling that creates whole brain thinking. So we're utilizing the left hemisphere as well as the right hemisphere to create that whole brain and to create tapping into your own internal wisdom and the intuition to start pulling it out and reflecting on what's coming up. Not just reflecting on that, but it's also what can shift as a result of. His brain is seeing it differently. When you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change.
Yes. Thank you for elaborating on that because, yeah, it's a very specific system that works very well. So, what other techniques and tools can we employ to reprogram our minds for success in the face of, uncertainty? And there certainly is. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of uncertainty in the world today. People are feeling it and feeling the challenge of it.
Exactly. Well, first, it always begins and ends with self, right? That's all external stuff. When you get to manage your own stuff, right, and identify your own stuff, then you get to respond to it rather than react to it differently. Right? So when you're responding to it, you're going to respond in kind because you're coming from a heart space rather than all the shadow of the ego, which is there to go, oh my God, the sky is falling, and I have no money, or, whatever we tell ourselves coming from the past-based experiences. So there are a number of things that you can do. I mean, I'm a lover of nature. I mean, one of the things that works for me is I go out in nature whenever I get off kilter and need to get grounded. I get out in nature and I ground myself there. I remind myself who I am. And sometimes that's just a journaling technique. Maybe it's like who I know myself to be. Well, the other day I had a meltdown. Even though I do the work and I've been doing it for many, many years, I still have meltdowns, but I recover like that. It doesn't take me long to get back on kilter. And all I did was who I know myself to be is XYZ. Who I know myself to be is XYZ. And by the time I finished and exhausted all of that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm the kind of person that shows up for people. I'm the kind of person that is a servant leader. I'm the kind of person that loves to give, so it was like, oh yeah, I went from, oh my God, the sky is falling. So there are little techniques like that. I mean, certainly I've got to a point where affirmations will work for me because I believe them. That's how I've been doing my whole healing journey, is with words creating reality. What you focus on expands. So
Really, we're examples of, like what you say, if you do the work, it works.
Absolutely. It's a process. Most people want it like, okay, I'm going to invest in this now. I'm investing in myself, but I'll do it later, right? Well, later never comes. Or I'm investing in myself because I really want the tools and techniques, and there are many of them, right? I mean, it's a journey. It's a process. It's not something that you sign up and all of a sudden it happens overnight. It's a process like everything else, and it's who you're becoming in the face of that process that's going to get the fear out of the way. It's going to create peace. So part of Tranquil Solutions is truly to create that freedom and peace in people's lives and get them into a stasis, a harmonic stasis, because balance is pretty much non-existent in the terms of energy flow. It's always in flux. It's always in flow, which is harmony. So I support others in harmonizing every aspect of their life to create that peace, freedom and peace.
I was thinking about all of that earlier and how the universe, just when you open up like that and you expand, the opportunities just start flowing to you. And besides that, you recognize them so that you can accept them into your lives.
Because when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you'll choose to do something about it. I was speaking to somebody today who asked for a recommendation, and I gave them, they're in pain. And I gave them a recommendation, and right away they went into the space of, it's too expensive. And I'm like, what's the cost of pain? What's the byproduct? Excuse me, the pain is causing your fear. Oh my God, the sky's falling, something's happening to me, and I'm going to die, or the worst case scenario. And yet, on the other hand, she's going away on a cruise. And it's like, we get to choose how we're going to spend our finances. But again, for me, in a holistic context of energy, I want to go away and enjoy my holiday or my vacation, whatever, pain free as possible. And how do you do that? You've got it from the inside out. It's always the conversation emanates from within.
Totally agree with that. And that is a conversation I had earlier today as well, that everything, I can't say enough, that everything begins from within, and finding that centered space within yourself of who you really are so that you can express that to the world. And that is your love. That is your expression. That is how we become ourselves.
Exactly. And healing is all about finding the love within.
Yeah. And it's a lifelong journey, right? It's a lifelong journey. You never get it done. There's always another level. And at the same time, you can do this work and be happy, exist and accept and appreciate what is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was in Costa Rica and I shared with you, I had a major accident down there. I didn't speak the language. I don't speak Spanish, but I was there having major surgery I was down there for 3.5 weeks. And everybody was like, oh my God, how are you doing it? And they're putting all their thoughts and feelings and implications on me. I chose to keep at bay and said, no, I'm focusing on my healing right now. And my words are creating my reality to heal. My body's going to heal. And as a result of that, I was able to not only create a team and get myself out of Costa Rica and get home, but I was walking way sooner than the doctors had predicted. And people were saying, oh, it'll never happen. Well, I don't buy into that. It's a choice, first off. And resilience, as a result of all of that, we become resilient. I chose to surrender to what was in the moment, right? So my faith took me through that. And here I am today walking, and not listening to everybody else's reality or what they felt my reality should be, including the doctors, right? So who am I to say, was I standing in fear? Not at all. Not at all. I don't remember recalling any fear whatsoever. And it wasn't until, I think my horse passed away while I was down there that I started emoting, because you were talking about moving the energy of trauma, right? And until we emote it and find a way to emote it, what I suggest to a lot of my clients is take a pool noodle, those little plastic, and just start banging a pillow. And scream and yell or go in your car and top you up, whatever it is, but you've got to get it out, and if you don't get it out, it's just going to be screaming louder and louder, because the trauma will always stay there and it will affect one way, shape, or form in your body, some location in your body, until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it will follow you. But these tools, if we put into practice all these different tools and use them, then they really create, very quick resilience. And resilience is what's required to really reinvent yourself every moment,
It's an ongoing journey, like you said. It's an ongoing, meditating. It's ongoing, it takes practice, like anything else, like anything we do in life. It takes practice, it's not going to happen overnight. Meditation is a great, I am not one to sit and it's just not my thing. I go out in nature. I can be with nature and just clear my whole energy field and be centered and listen to my intuition. I'm very intuitive, so I can hear when I'm out in nature. Some people sit, whatever it is that works for you, whether you're walking, playing golf, whatever it is, honor that space and don't make yourself wrong because you're not doing it the way everybody else is telling you to do it.
Totally agree. Before I started meditating, and I do love my meditations, but before that, people would say, why don't you go to church on Sundays, or when do you go to church, and stuff like that. And I would say, my garden is my church, the world is my church. I'm in church every day. I don't have to go to a church to be in that space,
When you're able to see beauty around you, in everything and in everyone, there's your church. There's your center space.
Believe in yourself and know that you're a miracle, then miracles start happening in your life.
Absolutely. Because what you focus on expands.
Yeah, I love focusing on stuff like,
Yes to the universe.
yeah, that's saying yes to the universe. You gotta love that, right, Karen?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I'd love to share my website if I may. I have a complimentary ebook there. It's all about words creating our world, and it's called Embrace the Shift and Harnessing the Power Within. The power is within you, and you choose to step into it. And that's my free gift to you. And that's on my website, www.Tranquil Solutions with it, SOULUTIONS.com. It's Karen, Karen Rudolf, RUDOLF, across social media. I'm always accessible, and you'll get me rather than anybody else. When you ask a question, I'll be the first one there to respond. So feel free to reach out, and believe in you, trust you, because you work it.
Thank you so much for sharing all that with us and for being here today. It was so lovely. Passive Profit Partners is a private equity firm dedicated to building genuine wealth through purpose-driven real estate investments, delivering above-average returns for our investors while diversifying their portfolios. Our real estate investment projects create a positive ripple effect in the world, fostering fair employment, supporting entrepreneurs, and elevating community prosperity. Does this resonate with you? Answer that call by investing in one of KPP's projects. For more information, visit our website at www.passiveprofitpartners.com. And if this conversation has provided you with valuable insights, please don't hesitate to reach out. It would be an honor to connect with you and confirm that our message is making an impact. Subscribe and give us a like to stay updated with our latest developments.